Hey everyone, welcome to Pop XP. And before the show starts, make sure to click that subscribe button and click the bell to get notifications when we go live and we upload awesome new content. And don't forget, if you can, make sure to share our stream on all your social media outlets. We appreciate it, and thanks for helping us grow the Pop XP channel. What is going on, YouTube? It's the brain of the mainframe here now. With the Pop XP, and joining me as always is that teen sensation. The man's never gonna age. The ladies love him. The men's love him. Blevins usually hides in his closet. We got Billy Tucci in the house, and the doctor's in. Everyone, so start DMing those prescriptions because Blevins got
those awesome pictures of what is this rash means? It means you need to quit sending me pictures. That's what it means.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody?
Deposits for your spank bank.
Dude, we got a great show tonight. We got a great show tonight. We're 7 minutes late.
Hell yeah, we're 7 minutes late. Why are we 7 minutes late?
It's my fault.
Blevins.
Yeah.
I'm at American Legion meeting, and we created a new an honor guard and a colored guard, and that I'm running. So
you guys have,
it's my detail. So I have to.
Yeah, you're gonna be waving the flags.
You guys do like the flag stuff.
We're not waving them. No, we got to carry flags and rifles. So we got 9 guys, got 9 pimps, studs.
How come they never made like a flag rifle, like a rifle that had the flag on it, so you could wave it and then blast away?
Dude, like so people don't even know, like the Chi-Coms invade us or something like that. I can just start blowing them away.
Yeah, it's like they see like the American flag, but it's actually a rifle flag.
It's like an RPG.
I just trademarked that, so if anyone uses it, it's quite a macho thing.
Dude, let's bring in our guest. Now, I'll do the
red, white, glam.
Yes. Let's bring him in. You know what? It's what time is it? It's late night now. Some can say it's a graveyard shift, man. Let's please bring in Jon Malin. What's up, John?
Hello. Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Raised by the
why can't we have guns that fire bullets? Then once the bullet's in the body and they fall down and die, that a little American flag comes out of every bullet.
Oh my god, that'd be like those snake. You know those little like what are those like snake firecracker things that just like kind of puff out.
There you go.
Puffs out and then poof.
American flag on every corpse.
It puffs out red, white, and blue. So they're sitting there like this, gurgling.
Why do we not?
And it plays "Born in the USA." Come on,
yeah, man. Doug knows what's going on.
Born in the USA.
Well, we did spell America with a lowercase a. Well,
here's my first shot of the night. Cheers, all you guys.
Yeah, so John, and I want to thank you last night for taking up the flag for the Kings last night.
For the Kings, yeah.
And thank you, brother. You helped us.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we surpassed $200,000 for the
what?
INDIEGOGO, and I thank you.
No, you didn't.
Holy
shit! Yeah.
What the fuck?
They killed it last night.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, it went up even more. It was like two this morning. It was like 200, like 119 or something. Thank you guys.
Hell, yeah, incredible.
Boom.
Nice. Good for you, Billy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's see Jon Malin's campaign that's going off like a bottle rocket.
Hell yeah.
With red, white, and blue streaming out behind it.
Boom. Yeah. At 116. What?
Yeah.
Insane.
7 hours left. We do 30 and 30 campaign. That's 30 days, and then we extend it for another 30 days. So we will get an extension when the 7 hours is up. But what we don't do that other people do is we don't go in demand. So be it Graveyard Shift or Godlike, which is my other campaign, those don't go in demand. So they only run the course of the 60-day campaign, and then they're gone. So if you guys don't get in during that time, you miss out until the next campaign. And then we try to get like a new material collection where people can kind of catch up on it. But the first printings, the real juicy stuff, generally you want to get them while the campaign's rolling.
And John, is that why? I'm sorry, John. Is that why you do it, for the collectability of it, for the rarity of the first printings and all? Because a lot of people watch our show, they kind of watch it to learn how to crowdfund their own books and stuff like that, and as opposed to going in demand, which I'd say 99% of INDIEGOGO campaigns go into. Why do you not do that?
I don't recommend anybody else to follow this path. Yes, I do it because I my intentions when I did it from the beginning was, we wanted to have a sense of scarcity, but also the campaign, like in my own personal opinion, and when these campaigns go on and you hear about them for the millionth time, it's like, okay, that thing's still going, and that's fine. That's how everybody else runs their business. But I wanted to try to keep that energy bottled up during the course of the campaign. So we get a nice, good 60 days, and then that's it. And then people, and they show up later and they say, hey, I just heard about it. How do I get on? And it's like, well, you just have to wait for the next one.
Yeah, and they don't see you on Twitter and on YouTube, like, every day on social media promoting it, right? And they still miss it. You're like, where you been?
Yeah,
you had your chance.
Yeah, some people think that I'm going to go in demand like everybody else, and you'll always be able to buy it closer to the actual release date. But also with this, our release date is about as close as it can possibly be, because the material is going to be completely done by the time our final 60 days up. So we're going to run to print as soon as we know what our final orders are. So we are lettering the supplemental book right now. So that's the last step for pre-press. And then the main book, the artist has about 2 more weeks left on it, and then that's done. And then, so I mean, people are going to get these. We put the delivery date, I think, at like May, I think, of this year. But it'll hopefully be even sooner than that. So we just want to get a little bit of buffer, but we are heading to print as soon as the orders are done on this. So
awesome. And we got a $5 super chat from the Canuck. Thank you, sir. Hey, Brian, Nile, Billy, and John. Good to see you, Brian. Hope things are going good for you. Thanks, John, for last night as well. Good to see you, Billy. What did you guys
do Canuck?
After the show?
I'm just curious about what he feels about what's going on in Ottawa. I think that's amazing. If you
What's up, Mandy?
Hey, Mandy.
We miss you, Mandy. Come back.
Mandy gets a hot chick bell.
Hot chick bell.
Boom. Yeah, because if you saw, they had the prime minister on there, and he's calling them violent and disruptive.
Really?
Yeah, he said they're violent and they're threatening, and these dudes are all just hanging out. Meanwhile, he doesn't say anything about the Antifa, riots and stuff like that were in Ottawa, last year or the year before. But now he goes on. He has to address Parliament.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Canuck. Trudeau is a pussy. Wow. Glad I'm in Arkansas.
Kansas represent.
Yeah.
What? Man,
represent?
You're talking about Columbia, right? Are we talking Columbia, Arkansas? Columbus, Arkansas?
No, I'm in Jacksonville, Arkansas.
Jacksonville. I knew it was
Jacksonville. That's where the money's at.
That's where the money's at. NCAA.
Right.
Hey, John.
Soon to be mayor, dude. Rocket.
There you are.
But yeah, no, with the truckers, I support them. But I do have a position which is the same with all the Antifa guys that are going on last time. Like, look, if you guys are going to protest, cool, keep one lane open. Be sure you can get emergency traffic through there. Mm-hmm. So as long as they're doing that, then they have my full support. I am on that side. So,
there you go.
But yeah, man, it's incredible what's going on there. Hats off to all the truckers and everybody else that's supporting them out there in Canada. And stand up for your rights. I don't know what kind of rights you got when you got to kneel to a queen, but whatever rights you got.
Dude, I did. So here's a funny story. So I was in Canada for a convention, I think the Toronto Comic-Con or something, and it was the Queens. They were celebrating their independence, right? 50 years of Canadian independence. Now, I grew up playing hockey. I love Canada. I could sing the national anthem both ways, the new way and the old way. And I got into this argument with these people because they're like, well, what is all this shit about celebrating your independence? Like, well, yeah, we're celebrating our independence. We're a free country. I'm like, then why is the Queen of England on your fucking money?
Still on the money. Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to me, people. Doesn't make sense to me. Maybe Mandy Summers knows. She's from Georgia.
Maybe it's like a chick thing or something. I don't know. The Queen.
Maybe.
Yeah, Queen's got to be on the money.
Yeah, Mandy is a queen. Yeah, Mandy's got the intro. I don't know if she's
telling people to bow. Cool. Look at she's telling people to bow. Wow.
She had an intro on her channel with Elizabeth Taylor being brought out as was it Cleopatra?
Cleopatra,
and that big entrance. I was like, yeah, that's a badass clip, man.
Nice. So, man, I've backed the Graveyard Shift campaigns and everything, and they've been going on now for a couple years. How did you come up with this whole concept?
Well, with co-creator Mark Poulton, we're both associated through Rob Liefeld's message board. We were both Rob Liefeld fans from way back, and he had done, I believe, some work with Rob at DC Hawkman. And I had worked with Rob, and Mark reached out and he said, hey, want to do a comic, and it was I think he had the name Graveyard Shift, and that it was going to be a monster book. So I said, oh, okay, well, it's something different. It was monsters, and it wasn't just like, hey, you want to do like an Invincible book or something like that. It's like there's like this horror theme to it. So I was like, yeah, okay. So we got together, and then we just started really kind of digging in and developing what this was going to be. And we had like several false starts on it, where we were trying to get stuff together, and then every time I got serious on getting the work done, I got hired. So Rob came and hired me off of doing this to go work on Youngblood, because he was bringing that back to Image around 2000, maybe 11 or something like that. So I went over there and I did that for, I don't know, a year and a half. But just the comic book work, it wasn't really like paying the bills. So I just found myself in the regular, blue collar jobs. I was building bridges, construction work. For years. And then when I'd get laid off, I would go back to my drawing. And I could do an occasional pinup during the summer season. But during I couldn't do any, and my hands would be numb. So they would be sore. There'd be very little I could be doing on my free time. And we worked long hours building bridges. But during winter time in Michigan, we get laid off. So during that time, I would just draw my butt off and started back from scratch on Graveyard Shift and just started redrawing it. And then I was sending these off to Marvel, and then Marvel was like, hey, you want to come work for us? And I was like, oh, okay. So, but I had always told Mark, I said, paid work is what comes first. So, I'm going to do this any free time that I have, but otherwise, I'm looking to make a career. So I went off and I worked at Marvel for a few years, and then through turns of events, I ended up going independent with Richard C. Meyer. He hired me again, another job, and he said, "Hey, when I left Marvel, I was going to just finish up Graveyard Shift, and I was just prepared to leave comics. I was like, this stuff is just too silly. There's some weird politics going on in here." Stuff I don't understand. Like, I've never been in, you know what I mean? Like, I've just always been on the periphery. And I'm like, man, why does it every time I seem to get in here, like it gets weirder, like people get weirder. And so anyways, so when I left Marvel, I was just going to finish up Graveyard Shift. And then I was going to say, hey, maybe we get picked up. Maybe it does nothing. But a YouTuber named Richard C. Meyer was pointed in my direction, I guess, by his fans, because he had mentioned, I guess, he was a friend of Rob, and my style was kind of similar to Rob. It is very similar to Rob. And I was also working on cable when I left Marvel. So when I was gone, Richard reached out and asked if I wanted to work on a book called Jawbreakers, and there was going to be money involved, and it was going to be crowdfunding, and I've never crowdfunded anything. But I was like, yeah, money sounds good.
Yeah, you're going to get paid a fair wage.
Yeah,
fair rate to do comics. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had already been attacked by people like Rich Johnson at Bleeding Cool. They tried to turn me into a white supremacist. It was a very interesting thing, because when I worked at Marvel, I put a little thing in the background of a panel, which was if you guys ever seen the movie Dark City. Yeah. There was a plot that Marvel was doing. It was called, I think it was called Pleasant Hill. And the plot was kind of similar. They take all these bad guys, they put them into this fictional town. It's also what they kind of repeated with that WandaVision thing. Put them in this town, give them all new identities. They don't know they're bad guys. So anyways, it was very reminiscent to Dark City, which was a movie that I saw and I enjoyed, I don't know, 1998.
Yeah, I actually convinced my wife, who wasn't my wife at the time, to go see this because I love Jennifer Connelly. This is my sneaky way of getting her to go see a Jennifer Connelly movie. I'm like, this movie looks really cool. It's real artsy.
She's still hot.
Yeah, she is. And Debbie's like, okay.
She's still fucking hot.
And Debbie's like, okay, fine. And then she's like, you only want to see this because Jennifer Connelly.
Hell yeah.
Well, I know. Keeper Sutherland
was in it. I love that actor. I love that lazy-eyed actor. The guy with the lazy lid. His one lid's a little lazier than you. So anyway, I'm sorry, Sean.
Well, anyways, long story short, I had put something out on my Twitter about SJWs, and as I was leaving Marvel, they wanted to try to use that and paint me as a white supremacist because I had made a reference to Dark City, which was in a billboard in the background of a Pleasant Hill flashback scene.
Mhm.
I wrote, what is it, Shell Beach, and Shell Beach was an element in Dark City of an island that everybody kind of knew it existed, but they couldn't quite remember going to. Like it was a plot element. So it's like, hey, that was my nod to Dark City. Anyway, so Rich Johnson really went for a stretch and tried to make it sound like I was trying to dog whistle white supremacy from that because I was vocally anti-SJW. So yeah, they really try to destroy me. It was a hot topic for a while. I mean, I had some girl from DS9, one of the actresses, come out try to get me fired, which was weird. And
Nana Visitor, right?
I don't remember her name. I know she looks good though, because we bring her up on Jack Show every now and then, and I never watched DS9. It's like the only track.
She Dax or what was her name?
No. I would know if she was that Dax girl. I think she was something like that. Like I think she was like the same species maybe as Dax.
Was she the one that came on like the last 2 seasons or something?
I don't know. I've seen one episode.
She's still kind of hot.
Deep Space Nine.
Is that the one with it? She was really pretty with the short hair and she had the things in her nose. Like
I'll tell you, that Klingon with the braids was pretty hot.
I don't know. I haven't watched the show, guys. But she's hot, and I've said I forgive her because she is attractive. You know, I'm like, oh, okay, she looks good.
Like, I forgive you. You're hot. It's okay.
I'm not gonna hold a grudge.
You can cancel me. You want to go to
So wait a minute. I'm sorry. This actress from Star Trek tried to cancel you?
Yeah, she took my quote about SJWs, and she's like, because it was a firestorm, like 2000 whatever. God, what was that? 17, 18, something like that. You know, it was a very hot year. Like people were very triggered with the Trump election, and they were just, headhunting, people that might have leaned conservative.
Oh yeah, that's when I was.
Or anyone Twitter that might have been viewed as not far left. So I mean that's what happened. And I mean, it's hard to describe now. It's a lot calmer and cooler than it was back then. But for people that were there and dealing with it, like it was intense. I mean, we had 3-day Twitter battle with fucking Joe Quesada, and he at the time was like the CCO or something like that at Marvel. And it's like, why the fuck are you wasting your time talking to 3 independent comic book creators? Like, But so, anyways, the point was that I was controversial. Richard was also controversial. Richard reached out to me and said, hey, with our controversy together, we could probably do some damage. And we're like, okay, so let's give it a go. And it took me, it wasn't a quick answer. It was like, let me think about it. Because I knew, because Richard was so red hot at the time that at least as things were, if things didn't settle down somewhere down the line, like I knew that if just by being associated with Richard, that I would be completely out of the industry, the mainstream industry, for the foreseeable future. Again, if things didn't go back to somewhat sanity, I would have been painted as a Nazi every chance people would have got to try to bring me down.
John,
was he going through the shit with Mark Waid then too? Or was this all before that?
This was before, because the Mark Waid came out of our book. So once we did the campaign, Richard had announced sometime during the campaign, oh, hey, we're going to get published through Antarctic Press. And then they're going to get our book into comic book stores, which everybody was like, yeah, cool, awesome. Mark Waid found out about that through that announcement and contacted Antarctic Press and said something how he was basically holding back the hounds of hell from this publisher. And that if things didn't go the way Mark Waid wanted, this publisher was just going to be fucking burnt, So I'm paraphrasing, but that was the tone. That was 100% the tone. And the Hound of Hell, I believe, was a direct quote from what he was saying too.
The Hound of Hell.
Yeah, he was holding back. He was holding back the Hounds of Hell or some shit like that. And because we cannot be allowed to be in comic book stores with other people, and so that ended up becoming a lawsuit. But also through that action, our campaign was doing well. I think we were right around looking at like a little bit better than 6 figures at the time. But once Mark Waid tried to actually destroy us, like completely destroy us, along with other people in the industry, there was the editor-in-chief at Aspen Comics. He called us extremists. Vince Hernandez, I think his name was, called myself, Richard, and presumably our colorist Brett extremists. I'm like, that used to be something that was reserved for people that blew up buildings or shot people.
Yeah, I'm surprised about that.
Like I was like, this is insane. And then what the icing on the cake of how silly the comic book industry had become was Neil Gaiman, who, I always respected from afar. I was never, into, the kind of gothy, artsy things that he was doing and writing. I'm an image guy. I like explosions. I like Michael Bay shit.
Yeah.
But I respected his idea and his hippie free speech. I agree with that. I'm a huge supporter of free speech. But Neil Gaiman, Mr. Free Speech, actually gave money to Mark Waid's campaign to help shut us out of the industry. And I'm like, okay, so what happened to the free? Oh, it's only free speech for Neil Gaiman. So Neil Gaiman can go fuck himself. That's my opinion. So yeah, Jawbreakers did extremely well. We ended up doing like $400,000 on that campaign. I think we had almost 10,000, maybe over 10,000 backers on it. It blew up, and it really solidified a group over here of largely conservative people where, everyone's just saying, look, people got to do their best to work together, not just conservatives, but people that are reasonable, centrists, or if you're just on the left, cool. If you're a reasonable person and you believe in free speech and tolerance of people who have differing views from you, you have to have some tolerance. Then that's what we want to do. We want to make an area over here away from all the crazy stuff that was going on in the mainstream at that time. And that became what Comicsgate is. And Comicsgate is now vilified every time it comes out of somebody on the far left's voice as exactly what they said about me. They're white supremacists. They're homophobes, transphobes. They're the worst human beings of all types over there. And it's like, it's so weird that the political lines are so drawn in this industry.
It seems like they're dealing with little children.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's almost like the kids, that the ones with the biggest voices, and you could say on both sides, are the ones that got picked on when they were kids and never stood up for themselves, right? Now they have a chance now they have the chance to get back at those bullies that bullied them when they were 12 years old.
I can see that.
Definitely. Right? And the thing is, though, those kids that bullied them, they were 12 years old. They were little kids. But these people have held this inside, and now this is their chance. And with social media and cancel culture, et cetera, they become 10 times the bullies that 12-year-old, 10-year-old, 15-year-old kid ever was, because those kids have grown up and moved on. Right? But these people are harboring this.
I'm still pretty pissed, though.
This insecurities, this hate, this rage, and now they're unleashing it on social media because, as a friend of mine who's a famous comic book artist, writer, he got in trouble because someone called him a name, cursed him out, and he basically said, "You know what? Say it to my face next time I see you, and we'll see what happens." Right. And all of a sudden, now this creator then gets, all of a sudden now he's threatening a comic fan. So the guy called him a fucking asshole or whatever, something like that. He called him, and the guy's just responding as a man would. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you're Mr. Big Matt or Keyboard John Gotti, whatever you are. You want to say that? Say it to my face.
Yeah, and even with Richard, like they this stuff was all uncovered, that there were professionals in the comic book industry that were talking about finding Richard at a convention and goading him into a fight so that as soon as he would throw a punch on them, which he probably wouldn't have been the first one to throw a punch.
Right.
But they were trying to get him to actually physically assault one of them at a convention. Like that was their plan.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then they were going to get him thrown out. And they were going to use that to say, look, this guy threw a punch. Like that's documented. That's not made up.
That was our our Comic Pros Facebook page. And I've never seen this. And I didn't know what the hell any of that was. You know? But I was like, what the hell is this? Who?
Anyway, so everybody went crazy. But having done that and the explosion that was Jawbreakers, solidified this group, and then we started kind of taking Comicsgate is very much a fan movement. It's by the fans. There's a lot of people who left Marvel and DC because they were just felt like they're being, shit upon by the creators and editorial over there in terms of directions for the characters or whatever their grievances are. There's a lot of overlap of different views and ideas, and no one in Comicsgate is the same person. It's not just this carbon copy mentality of anything. Mm-hmm. So. But they're over here so they can talk and they can have this stuff. But now what we did was through that crowdfund, we kind of made it say, hey, we can actually start making books for everybody out here, guys. You want change? Well, we can make that change. We can make the books, the type of books that you guys say you want. And at that point, Ethan came over and was doing Cyberfrog. And he launched 2 or 3 months after we launched. And then he totally eclipsed us. Like he just blew it away. And then he became the largest comic book crowdfund on and then he was the largest comic book crowdfund on Indiegogo, I believe, of all time. And we may actually be higher than Kickstarter.
That's why you hate him?
Who's that?
That's why you hate Ethan? Because
that's why you hate that guy so much.
Yeah. Damn you, Ethan. Damn you doing better than us. No, man.
There was an article that I sent to both Dr. Blevins and to Nile about the Kickstarter's biggest comic creator and how she's leaving the Kickstarter platform because of the blockchain thing. And basically, it looks like she just kind of wants to do it on her own website. She's going to crowdfund on her own website to get rid of the Kickstarter fees because Indiegogo, Kickstarter, there's fees involved with that.
Yeah, 7-8% of everything. Yep.
Yeah. So, but and they called her the biggest crowdfunder on Kickstarter. But what's Polito's numbers? Is he 5 million, 6 million?
Yeah, 4 million.
Oh, totals. Yeah, totals. Yeah. He does huge. Every one of Polito's campaigns, to my knowledge, are like $250,000, $300,000. So,
yeah,
I mean, he's got to be.
And he's got the staying power, which I'm leading to my segue because John, you guys have been doing Graveyard Shift since late 2018. So you've done in 4 years, really, because it was at the end of 2018. You've done 4 Graveyard Shifts in 4 years, and
we're over $1 million. Like you can scroll down and hover over that highlight section. We're over $1 million in total campaign funds raised right now.
That's fantastic.
I mean, we've done very well. Like you see where it says 7 projects, you hover over that where it says highlight, and it'll actually tell you
in the middle
on the bottom left on your left. Down one more.
Down one more.
There we go.
There we go.
Boom. Hang on.
1.1 million. So yeah, we've done that well with 4 campaigns, but also Godlike as well is in there now. So 250 of that is Godlike.
So you've done
That's
Godlike.
crazy, man.
You've done the Graveyard Shift books. You've done variant covers, things like that. So you have been able to provide for yourself, your family, and become a bona fide, not just a comic creator, but a publisher.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize, and John, you're the one that says this all the time. Like, I don't know if I can make it tonight, that we're streaming at least 4 nights a week, right? On top of then getting up early to draw, to write scripts, to do the, as we say, John, when the marketing department's working, the art department isn't. When the art department's working, the writing department's not working. When the business department's working, the editorial department's not working. And people don't realize that of how much, people do, the people watching us do. But it's interesting how with the mainstream press that you have these people that are dying on that sword to do no matter what the mainstream, the big two do. They will die on that sword to protect them. When these is the very same people that when Diamond Comic Distributors takes a 2-week hiatus, orders all of their creatives for the most part, except for the big ones that really don't need the hiatus, to pencils down order, stop working. And now how are these people going to supply for their families, things like that? And it just shows how much the big two, or it shows how little the big two really deem their creatives.
Yeah, and that's a cool thing too about what we were doing, because when that pencils down order did happen, and when people were losing their jobs, at least temporarily, Comicsgate never missed a beat. We kept going. Yep. We aren't reliant on anything that Diamond or any major distributor is dealing with. We do everything ourselves, and for the most part in house. So You know, I got a room full of Gemini mailers right now. So as long as the
know,
post
right?
office is going, you know, we keep going. So we never lost a beat. We were actually making more money than Marvel and DC that month.
Yeah.
You know, because they were shut down and we weren't. So it was fantastic. So the model that's been developed here, but also people in the mainstream, they look at like what we do and they find any reason to try to bring us down. Like you were saying, oddly enough, in defense of their own corporations that is going to chew them up and spit them out, we're out here saying, hey guys, there's other ways. And then they're trying to find ways of saying, fuck you. You know, and that's what they do. They see us on YouTube and they say, these guys aren't comic book artists. These guys are YouTubers. And it's like, we are comic book artists that are on YouTube to sell comic books. We are our marketing department. We don't have a corporation to do this. And it's so crazy how many people you think are otherwise intelligent that this narrative comes out of their mouth. Like, these guys they're just YouTubers. Like, no, well,
they're afraid of the system. They're afraid of it. What has been created is they're just making books that go through a mainstream publisher, right? They don't even get their fans involved. They go to conventions. Half the time you got to pay a fucking arm and a leg for half these guys' shit. But when you come into this world of CG and independent comics, you know, even like Brian Pulido and stuff like that, you created an environment of crowdfunding, but it's not just backing it. It's like, hey, let's hang out tonight. Your fans, great. I'm live. Let's chat. They get recognition. They may get some laughs from their comments. You start building relationships. It's not just about comics anymore. Yeah. And that's how this is evolving.
And the cool thing about crowdfunding, though, too, is you can't fake it. Like, and that's also what's terrifying to a lot of these professionals at Marvel and DC is that when they have a when you're working on Batman, you can say, I got the biggest dick. You know what I mean? Look at my dick, man. Look at my sales number every week. I'm working on Batman, but it's me. No, it's not you. It's Batman. Yeah. So when you go into crowdfunding, what people find out is you don't have that audience. You don't have all that support. Very few people do. But what you do need is you need about 3,000 people based on where we as Comicsgate have set our pricing. You need about 3,000 people to really make a real successful project.
Yeah.
But when Sean Gordon Murphy, who was a Batman artist, running his own line of Bat books, went to crowdfunding, you know, people are out there and they're saying, Sean Gordon Murphy, you're number one Batman artist in the world. And I don't have anything against Sean Gordon Murphy, but I'm just
awesome,
saying,
dude, if you haven't met him, I'm telling you, he's an awesome dude.
Right. But my point being is just what happened. They said, Sean Gordon Murphy is going to go into crowdfunding, and this guy's going to make over $1 million. And what I said was, slow your roll. I said it's probably not going to make over $1 million because he's not out there. What we found out is what moves a campaign, and I think Dave Finch is also kind of learning this right now in his campaign, is that you have to promote, you have to market your book. Yeah. You have to have a Stan Lee or somebody out there that's willing to go out onto YouTube and talk about it and interact with the audience. Like that's kind of the new thing right now.
But if I may, real quick, Bud, let me before I leave my train of thought, because it's so personal. And what it is that you, like I said, John, you have 3,000 backers, say, right? Mm-hmm. I'm lucky. We're fortunate enough that we have 3,000 backers for the Sheet campaign. Thank you all. But every one of those 3,000 backers hold you accountable. Mm-hmm. For what you do. They want their books and they want it to be good. And they will. And again, you know, any of us, right, John, you can draw a comic in a week if you want to, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't look good.
But you can. It's going to look like you drew it in a fucking week. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that you take pride in this because these are our stabs and these are our chance at immortality. Right.
That's right.
So we want to deliver, and the backers. The most important thing right now, we've had this conversation. The backers deserve our very best.
Yeah, absolutely.
You tell someone, I'm sorry, this was supposed to ship in November. It's not going to ship until January. I'm sorry, but you know what? I didn't like how this page was going, and I redrew it. Mm-hmm. Because this is something for you. Because you guys have spent $25 for a book, $15, $50 for a book. $100 for maybe some of the big book, you know, a special edition, and because we would be nothing without those backers, and they deserve our very best. And the thing is, though, but again, you got to deliver because, like I said, they call you out on it. And we do it now. You look at you with, like I said, over $1 million, and you're kicking ass with it. And
every campaign leads into the next campaign. You know, you want to do your absolute best to keep everything running on time. And once you take on that publisher chair, you start seeing, oh, okay, you see the problems that editorial and other publishers are dealing with when you're hiring out talent. So you want to, you have to become the taskmaster as well on trying to keep everything on time. But by having a good reputation, keeping your projects on time, you can ideally continue to either grow or maintain. So, so that's why it's important that you always try to stick to your schedule.
Yeah. And I'm going to shut up after this, but I want to say that like someone like John, you're the first person in our little, our little chat rooms or whatever, our DMs, where you're like, time to go to work. You got to work. And John, you're always saying this is, and we have fun. Right, we have a lot of fun. We're drinking, we're laughing and stuff. But this is a lot of work, that instead of me sitting on the couch with my wife watching, I don't know what she wants to watch, Downton Abbey or something, whatever. But I'm not sitting on the couch with my wife in front of the fire watching TV because I'm here to work. Yeah. And you get someone like Mandy who's in the audience. And I look at Mandy Summers, and you talk about like Sean, who's out there, and Sean Murphy's campaign is going to do $1 million, which it could. And
absolutely could. Absolutely
could.
Someone
like Mandy, and Mandy's a fucking rock star because Mandy's out there at night. And Mandy, she has a family. You know what I mean? She has a, she's a full-time creator. She has a family. She has to take care. But what she's doing night after night is she's streaming, and she's on there because this is work, and she's promoting our books because people have to understand. The guys that the people out there, ladies and gentlemen, that watch us afterwards, and again, because we have a lot of people that come on after the show and watch it who want to crowdfund. This is a business. You have to think of this as a business. Yeah. It's time to grow up, and it's time to be an outlaw. And outlaw comics are the friggin' best. And this is what me, Brian Polito, Jeff Smith, Terry Moore, that we became fast friends way back in the day, 27 years ago, because we were just like people that did not know what the hell we were doing, but we were passionate about our books, and we were out there. We're at shows. You know what I mean? We're engaging with the audience and stuff. And that's why nothing. We're still friggin' here almost 30 years later.
It's a lot about discipline. And it's a lot about it's a lot about discipline. And, every hour that we spend online, even though we're drinking, we're having a good time for the most part. But every hour, that's work too. Like even when we're belligerent drunks and saying silly things and we're putting on a clown show, that's still work, Work. So every hour that's spent there is what you don't see is, and then you're like, look at these guys. They're just egomaniacs. They're out here on YouTube and they're off here goofballing around. But what you don't see is the hours that we're not on stream and we're drawing. That's work too. So I mean, you have to take the time. You have to dedicate time to where you like. Some nights people will be online. I'll be like, God, I want to hop in on that stream. It looks like they're having such a great time, but I'm like, nope, this is draw time. So I have to draw, because if I don't draw, the work doesn't get done. So that's what people again, the haters, they don't put into consideration is we may put in 4 or 5 days a week on our stream or somebody else's stream. Long hours too, they can be 4 hour streams any given time. But then the other time is also with our family and doing our illustration work or publishing work and whatnot. So the more successful these campaigns are, the more loaded people really are in terms of what they're doing. Ethan is swamped, and he still gets on. If he's not online, people feel it. But he's out there managing a warehouse and toys being created and just a huge amount of things that we don't sit and watch him doing 24 hours a day. But our haters, they'll say, look at these guys up on YouTube when they should be working. Like, but if we're not on YouTube, these things aren't moving. And then we run into, Sean Gordon Murphy ended up doing 250,000. I actually used him as a goal. I said, let's beat Sean Gordon Murphy. And then that moved the I think it was the last volume, maybe the volume 4, to $260,000.
Well, this volume 4,
so we actually beat Sean Gordon Murphy, and nobody knows who I am. No one, I'm not a Batman artist. I don't have a line of books over at DC Comics, but I can outsell Sean Gordon Murphy on here. And that's the thing. That's the thing is what I was saying before. Crowdfunding really kind of shows what your true pull is. And I think that's frightening to a lot of people in the mainstream because they have these, they as well have egos. And when they have numbers that are, hey, look at me, I'm the number top 10 book. But then they go out and crowdfund and they have a hard time raising $20,000.
Yeah, I think that there definitely is a serious like informational gap or like experience gap in between, these people that are able to, that have been in the mainstream. That's why I think the pros don't give the indie comic creators the credit that they deserve because, everybody's trying to make this trip, they're trying to make this deal. And in order to get the best mileage and the best car and everything, these pros are using a vehicle that doesn't belong to them. They're using a vehicle that everybody knows. And then they start driving it and they think, oh my God, man, I'm driving this vehicle. I'm such hot crap. Look at me. I could drive any vehicle that I drive will turn out to be like this. But again, it's
as long as they're there working at Marvel and DC, that's great for them. But the day Marvel and DC shows them the door or doesn't show them the door, lets them figure out that the door has shut already on them, then they're going to be like, oh fuck, well, what do I do now? We're out here building something. And here's the thing too, Comicsgate, we're just independent comic book creators. That's what we are. We are the indies, and we're very successful indies. But that's the future. Decentralized comic book creation is what Comicsgate is, and through that, we're making more doors. We've learned how to print our own books, how to make our own books. We've learned so much, how to get these out to customers. Yeah, like this, all this infrastructure takes time to learn. We've already done that. So we're great. If you're an independent comic creator, you should be Comicsgate. Just get out here and start working on your network and build up a YouTube channel and do what we're doing, follow our model, and make a lot of money. Can
I ask you a question, Malin?
Yeah, but one thing quick. The thing is like with the pros, the people at Marvel and DC, the problem is that they while they're at Marvel and DC, they continue to vilify something, an independent group like Comicsgate. Absolutely. They politicize it. Like exactly what Rich Johnson tried doing to me because he saw me as some, far right guy or something like that. And, I'm very much more libertarian than anything. But I don't want to say that I'm one thing. Look, I care about fucking freedom. That's what I fucking care about.
Yeah, bro.
Just don't pay any attention when I'm doing, bitches. Just stay out of my fucking shit. That's my whole political attitude. And but because I'm not on board with SJW and far leftism, that I must be a Nazi. So they called me a Nazi. So and that way what they do is they taint you so that no one wants to be around you or be seen with you because they're political zealots. And that should really be terrifying to people is understanding how much of that is going through these people.
Well, that's what I was saying.
What you must have felt someone calling you a Nazi. I could only
destroyed me. Look, I've never been called a Nazi or a white supremacist in my life until I worked in mainstream comic books. Until I worked in Marvel comic books, had anybody ever cared to, I guess, ever consider me a white supremacist or a Nazi? No one in my life has ever considered me any of these things. So and that's what I've said. I'm like, so Comicsgate, people that come over here, they're branded. So and that's definitely how it was in 2018. Things are getting better now. Everyone's coming a little bit back to reality on the stuff that a lot of the issues that we've said are being shown to be correct. And including just the decline of the mainstream superhero industry, which is what we care about primarily because we're Marvel and DC guys. We grew up reading Marvel and DC.
Well, John, here's a funny story, if I may, and I'll shut up after this. But with me, there was a huge DC project going on that I would have been, and this is me just coming off of Sergeant Rock, The Lost Battalion, got nominated for my Batman story, my Batman book. I just won the Military Writers Society of America's gold medal, which is the big that Tom Clancy wins. All this for Sergeant Rock, The Lost Battalion. A friend of mine who's a very famous DC Comics writer approaches me with an idea. I'm like, oh my God, I'd love to do that with you. And I mostly write and draw my own stuff, but to work with this writer, I'd love to do it, with him. approaches it. It's a fucking home run, John. It is a home run. And he approaches it and like, they're like, you got to be kidding me. I'm not going to fucking Tucci draw this. And he goes, why? He goes, the guy's a fucking Republican. This is what a higher up editor said. Did I say DC Comics? It might not be DC Comics. It might be Marvel Comics. Anyway.
They're all gone anyways. Doesn't matter.
So the thing is, so I don't. It kind of happens. It doesn't happen with the effect that I would have promoted it with, and what we had done together. But John, the thing is, that was 2012.
Yeah.
So because I was an open Republican in 2012, that was it for me.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It was the night of the Obama-Romney first debate. And I had a Facebook thread. I'm like, debate thread, go. And Romney swept the floor with Obama in that first debate. Swept the floor with him. He was like a professor schooling a petulant child, whatever. And it went crazy. And you had right-wing comic creators.
Yeah, and you couldn't celebrate that. Yeah. The same thing happened with like even Mitch Breitweiser, right? Yeah. He went when Trump was elected, and he's like, congratulations, Mr. President, or something like that. And they went to cancel him for that. Like you're not allowed. You're not allowed to celebrate. Whereas if they had voted for Obama, clearly they celebrated. Hey, we defeated the evil, or whatever the narrative would have been then.
Yeah.
So
But this is 4 years before Trump. Now, me as a hot artist or creator at the time, whatever. Yeah, it didn't matter to them. That was it. That was it for me. Yeah. Jimmy.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I tell you,
books after and every book we did, Jimmy and I, Palmiotti, who didn't care. Jimmy doesn't care about that. Jimmy cares about creating good content, and we had some good books, and they were big. You know what I mean? But the writing was on the wall for me. If it wasn't for Jimmy being my champion, I got nothing. Yeah, it was like, what? Because I voted for Romney, really, and that's like, basically because you voted for Romney. And this is, again, like I said, 4 years before fucking Trump came in. Yeah,
like I said, political zealots, they're in there. And that's, like I said, it should terrify people right to the fucking bone. And it doesn't. And that's scary, because you think that is the culture. That is the culture, is that if you are Republican, you must be a Nazi and a homophobe and white supremacist. You must be all these things, even if you're black. Like that's how crazy politics are. That's how these political zealots are. They're insane, and they're perfectly comfortable.
Yeah, well, there are no mainstream comic book writers or artists working today for Marvel or DC that are Republican. There's not a one.
When I
know of that Marvel and DC are.
Look, when I worked at Marvel,
know a lot of them because they're my buddies, and we have our little secret.
When I worked at Marvel, Alana Smith was my editor, and during the Trump election, she wrote on her Twitter. She said, no matter if Trump wins or loses, if you voted for him, we're going to find out, and we're going to remember who you are. That's what she fucking said. That was my editor. So, if like I said, the amount of crazy that is openly allowed to be out there against people that are conservative or seen as conservative, and no one gives a fuck. Can you imagine that going the other way around?
It wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen.
That's what they touted in the 50s with the whole Red Scare thing. That they were outing communists, and they were literally canceling communists. Right? That's what they did. But the thing is, the real truth is that today they're doing that to conservatives, because what conservative filmmakers are there? And
Mel Gibson, but they've canceled him like 3 times.
Well,
he's got so much talent. He manages to crawl his way back every 5 years.
I think the music industry is the best industry. You can do whatever you want. Whatever. You can do whatever you want.
For now, I mean, look what they're doing to Rogan and how they're trying to vilify him on.
Yeah, but it's still the same category as like what we do, and we get vilified for it.
Right. Well, I'm saying if it keeps on the same trend that it's going, it will filter into music. They will take every, like, I'm posting as a troll on Twitter right now. I'm like encouraging Spotify to get rid of all the rap because that's, you know, like a bit of mine. Like, I don't like rap. I don't want any rap. I don't care about rap.
Well, they say bitch is this, and bitch is that, and
right. And I said, Spotify, like, you might be shocked to know. You might be shocked to know what these guys are saying about women in all this rap music, you know? So, but that's just it. They will be going after people. Like, if it keeps running that course, and if culture doesn't come back to reality and say, you know what, guys, we have to go back to let people say what they want to say, you know, have some fucking tolerance for what they're fucking saying. Let artists create some fucking art. Otherwise, we're gonna just be in a fucking, we're gonna be in a downfall. We're gonna be stabbing each other, you know. We're gonna be shooting each other. It's ridiculous. You have to have tolerance.
So
you have to have tolerance
for each other.
Even
it's not that.
You have to have tolerance for the people you don't like. You have to. Like, that's the American way. You don't like it, that is the American way.
It was never a real big issue before, but now it's clearly, obviously, it's just like, but that's, you know, it's generational too. I think it's so generational. You get what you want. But I mean, so it's like, you know, I was going to ask you, I mean, I know people, I've worked with people that are like, and I'm like, hey, you know, this and that, confiscate this, confiscate that. It's like, oh, wow, that's really great. I get it. And then they research on, they're like, yeah, I don't know if I can do that. I'm like, it's not what you think it is.
Yeah. The moment they see Nazi or white supremacists tied to a group, they I don't want to be a successful independent artist.
How does the Wikipedias get changed and other things? Some,
never
you know, those are somehow those things have to be, the narrative has to be changed because it's not true, and that's the fucked up part. And you know, but the problem is, you know, I've had people that I was trying to collaborate with this channel, and they were gun ho until they started, and it wasn't even them. Like, I get it, but my fans won't. And if they research it and I get tied to this type of vocabulary, you know, I don't want 10 years of my brand going down the toilet or starting over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get it, but it's not what you think it is.
But Nile and I made that decision. Well, really, Nile, it's his show. That we'll have anyone on. But if you're a fucking asshole, that will call you out on it. You know, we don't care what your political affiliation. I'll have fucking.
It shouldn't matter.
That's how it should be. I mean, that's how Rogan is. You know, have open and honest conversations about things. Why is that so difficult for people? And that's just it, man. And but you know, to go back to what, you know, how does it change you when you're called a racist and a white supremacist? Like, for me, like I said, I mean, it was devastating. I had never been called that or considered any of that in my life. But I thought of it as like, you die and then you get reborn. And then once you're reborn, you can take it. Like, you can call me a racist, you can call me a white supremacist, you call me whatever you want now. And it doesn't bother me. It definitely doesn't bother me like it did, you know, 3-4 years ago, where, I mean, I was like, my life is about to get ruined. You have to just accept what's going on. And, you know, that takes real courage. It takes real courage to say, I know what they're going to do to me. But I'm going to sit here and do it anyways, because, you know, I believe in what I'm doing. I'm going to use, you know, my own brain to make my own decisions about what I'm going to do in my life. I'm not going to go by peer pressure. You know, I'm just going to stick to my fucking guns. Like, once you've been canceled and you've been labeled all these terrible things, and they've done everything, even including some chick on Star Trek is trying to ruin your fucking life, and she doesn't know you, never met you, then it's like everything lightens up, you know. Like, it's a lot more. Being online is a lot of fun when you don't have to worry about it. So now a lot of what I do is I troll, you know, like, oh, okay, you guys want, you know, me, you know, I'm a racist. I don't like rap, you know. Look, I don't mind rap, but I'm gonna say I don't like rap. You know, I'm gonna make, you know, because I'm gonna build a character here. I'm gonna make this a lot of fun. I'm gonna do whatever I can to have a good time here. You guys are going to tell me I can't do something. Well, let me just go ahead and show you that I can do something, and then I'll go ahead and do it. And you know, to have any of those people have their uncomfortable heads explode is such a pleasure for me. Yeah. You know, like Ethan talks every now and then, like, oh, I don't think, you know, pros should be saying anything in prose. I don't know. I never stick by that rule because I know I'm going to be hypocritical. I will happily watch someone else crash and fucking burn in the mainstream coming after me. So I have no problem telling people I don't like their art. Like I said, I wasn't in like the inner circle. I haven't spent 20 years in here developing these very fine relationships with people. But I've always been on the fringes of it all. So, like I have no relationship to you. You're just another guy on a job site. And, if you're in my fucking way, I'll just tell you what the fuck, I'll tell you got something going on. You got something fucking going on. Like, that's just it. I don't have this kind of professional respect for people that are trying to ruin my life.
Don't you just hate though that, like, doing something that you love, like that has, that people have came in and invaded your space, like people who don't even care about comics, really. A lot of the people that are complaining, they don't care about comics, but they're doing this to the point where you have to become numb to that. I mean, like,
to fight. You're
dealing with children, though, Dr. Blevins. You're dealing with people that you're dealing with 55, 60-year-old men that still rent apartments that never, I mean, that's what you're dealing with. And God forgive me, but I'm friends with a lot of these guys, or so I thought, for the past 25 years. And these are also the same guys who tell me how to raise my children, even though they never had kids. So they're the ones to tell you how I should teach, how what my kids should have to deal with, whether, in school, curriculum, et cetera. And my kids are, but they don't have children. With this whole, a lot of this stuff with whatever. I'll leave.
We have a question here for Brett Blevins. Brett, what was Chris Claremont like? What did his scripts look like?
I think he was great. His scripts were a little too long for me, very wordy.
Oh my God!
I'm absolutely not Brett Blevins.
Claremont wordy.
Thank you, Sean. Spread the word.
Share it with your friends.
I love that people are like, is that Brett Blevins?
Is that Brett Blevins? Badass. So
I'm the second most important Blevins around.
So Chris and Beth went to our wedding. I've been friends with Chris Claremont for some reason. He liked me. I don't know how. When I came in,
not anymore.
But here's the cool thing, John, is that when she came out, it kind of exploded. And then Debbie and I would go to the conventions and just meet all these, Claremont, Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri, McFarlane, Rob Liefeld, all these, like, it's just people.
Macho.
Like friends.
Yeah.
So Debbie had met Joy, Rob's wife, and just, Debbie I met Stan Lee because Debbie was online, believe it or not, at the San Diego Comic-Con 1994 to get lunch. So Stan's wife was online to buy lunch for Stan at the San Diego Comic-Con 1994. And her and Debbie were just together. And all of a sudden, my wife comes walking back like, I met some friends. I got to introduce you to them. And Joan and Joni come walking up. And I'm like, what? Debbie.
That's awesome.
She's heard of Stan Lee, but she doesn't know anything.
Such a great story.
And here comes Debbie, she's all dolled up and, because she was a marketing person, so she's wearing a business suit and stuff like that. And I guess her and Joni just became friends. And then Stan's like, "You did this?" I'm like, "Oh my, yeah." I'm like, "This is my booth. I have my own creator comic because of you," sort of thing. And then somehow Debbie made us friends with them. But anyway, getting back to it, is that
that's awesome.
It was all about just being people. And like I said, that's why I got to meet them. And I'm so fortunate enough that I was able, I'm going on a rant, not like your show last night, but I was just so fortunate that the book took off. She took off immediately. Then I got to meet these people that I never got to meet. And then just like, hey, what are you guys doing tonight? Like Debbie's like, we're like, nothing. And Ramita's like, we're going to Cabo, some Mexican restaurant. And there's, Gene Simmons and shit. And he hit on her and stuff, which is weird. But who
did Gene hit on? Your wife?
Oh, Gene Simmons. Oh my God, it was so disgusting. You gotta hear it. He's so serpentine. He's like a lizard. And he's got this. You ever see Goodfellas? Remember Carbone's hair that he has? So all of a sudden, now Gene Simmons, it's 1994. He's the first celebrity I've ever met in my life. And I'm like falling all over because Gene Simmons of Kiss. Dude, I don't even like fucking Kiss. I don't even care about. I think they
don't tell Malin that.
Sorry, I think they suck.
Man,
I suck.
like Kiss.
But I like Iron Maiden, man. I like Maiden. So
No,
anyway,
if you want to troll, Kiss fans, you just tell them you like was it Beth? Because it was written by the drummer Peter Criss.
yeah, I think
That's like their biggest commercial hit was.
Yeah,
like
that's
Beth.
the only song Debbie knows of Kiss is Beth with that cover. Anyway, so all of a sudden, so we go there and we're like, she just came out. We're in our mid-20s, right? I don't know, 26, something like that. And and we go to a bar, and Johnny Romita Jr. invites us to a bar, and there's Bagley and a lot of other guys and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, Gene Simmons is there, and he's like, and he just zeroes in on my wife, who wasn't my wife yet. She's like 25. And he's like, and he just grabs her hand and he pulls her hand close, almost like a fucking, like, I don't want to say a vampire, but like a fucking snake. Like he's very
like an octopus.
Like his fingers just kept wrapping around and wrapping around.
He's like James Earl Jones and fucking Conan, like that sort of thing at the end. And he's like, so and why are you here? And Debbie just, and Debbie goes, and my God bless, and like I said, Debbie doesn't care about anything, and she's like, and she just pushes him away. He's like, I'm with him.
Oh shit!
Yeah. And what he does then? So we all laugh at Gene's expense, and he gets a little upset about that. So Johnny Romita Jr. is fucking awesome. He's a badass. So,
good guy, yeah. So
then they're gonna go to a strip club. So then Johnny's like, "You want to go?" I'm like, "What, are you kidding me? There's no. What are you high? I'm in San Diego with my girlfriend. There's no way." So Johnny goes to the strip club with Gene Simmons, and they're sitting there, and of course all the girls at the strip club know Gene Simmons. Gene doesn't bring any money with him, John. He doesn't bring any cash. So he goes to John Romita. So John Romita probably took out of the cash machine $200 in singles or whatever. I don't know what he did. And he goes, hey, you got any? I don't have any cash. You got any money? So John's like, oh, jeez. So now Johnny Jr. can totally read someone. Johnny's like, oh, geez. So Johnny's like, all right, I'll give you 60 singles. He gives Gene Simmons a wad of 60 singles, right? Mm-hmm. So against his, to his chagrin, if you will. So all of a sudden they're sitting there watching. All of a sudden Gene Simmons, then now the girl's dancing and they're at a strip club, and all of a sudden Gene Simmons goes like that and points to this one girl and goes, you. Summons her like this, like a fucking
like a snake.
He's not even like a cobra.
Snaky fingers.
He's like a gutter snake. He's like a rat snake. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden this girl comes clapping over, Johnny tells us, and she leans down to Gene Simmons, and he takes Johnny's $60 in singles, right, and sticks it in her shoe, and goes,
"Oh, damn!"
and dismisses her. And actually, of course, she's fucking excited because Gene Simmons just gave her
he just gave me $60. He's a baller.
Yeah, and John goes, and so he said, then he goes like, "Oh, you got any more cash?" And John's like, "Fuck you! You just
no shit." $
60. I'm like, that's my story.
That's great.
Yeah, that's a great story.
It's a great story, but that happened.
Yeah, it just seems so true.
No, it's totally true.
He had a lot of cash on him too. He was just pissed because Debbie caused that. That's what happened. He was paying back for them.
No, Debbie was just adorable. She's like 25 years old.
Yeah, but they laughed at Gene Simmons.
I lucked out. So my wife's adorable and she's stunning, and he was all over her, and like it was so disgusting. And then I'm like, wow, Gene Simmons is a dick. And then I'm like, I never fucking liked Kiss. And then she's like, and you kissed his ass. And she's like, and you were all starstruck. I'm like, I never fucking met a rock star in my life. And then
the celebrity,
Billy's like, let me taste your tongue. What?
I think my tongue's longer than his. Look at my tongue.
Let's touch tongues.
Oh, man.
Nice tongue. Frank Key is like, man, I wish Brett Blevins could be here. Me too. We need to call that dude up. All Blevinses don't know each other.
Dude, he hit on Manny Summers last year at a con, Dragon Con.
Who did?
Fucking Gene Simmons.
Hit on Manny Summers?
Yep, and at Dragon Con, I was there.
Oh, man, he never gives up.
You should see what he did to Blevins.
That dude will rock and roll all night.
But he would.
Yeah. On somebody else's dime, apparently.
John, have you ever been starstruck?
I mean,
Squirrely Wolf.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you see a celebrity, it's cool. I did see Gene Simmons in a hotel. It was at San Diego. I walked into the hotel, and then right there was Gene, like looking back at me, and I looked at him, and I was just like, oh, Gene Simmons, and
he's like, come here.
And I quickly broke the eye contact. Like
fuck, I almost been a dude.
And then I looked her to the right, and then there was like a herd of people walking in a group, and there was like a little redheaded dude inside, and then that was Seth Green. I was like, oh, okay, Gene Simmons, Seth Green, like right in the same hotel. Like I mean, just like bam.
He's so mean.
God, the Punisher guy, Thomas Jane. I was I think at the same hotel they had like a little bar area you could actually just sit outside, and he was out there just kind of walking around talking.
That was the Wizard World event.
No, it's San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah. So 90. Well, no, it would have been when I was at.
It's like Image. I woke up in your room. It's definitely
it would have been around 2000, 2002, 3.
I hung out with Thomas Jane, and I met Seth Green also at San Diego, but it was at a Wizard World event. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was San Diego Comic-Con, because I don't remember being to any Wizard World events in San Diego.
That was
What's that?
Seth Green is tiny.
He's a tiny little guy. I was like, oh,
cool, he was really cool.
Yeah, he seemed like a friendly guy from all accounts. But
there's another funny story is that some guy walked by us, and he was one of the hobbits, but not Rudy Hobbit or the other Hobbit, Bilbo, not Bilbo.
Frodo?
Not Frodo.
Not Frodo, not Samwise.
Right, but the other guy, the blonde guy.
The Monahan.
Everyone thought he was Stifler.
The Lost guy, yeah.
Yeah, so he walked by, and everyone was like, Stifler, because they thought he was Stifler. And it ended up being the other guy, and they shamed him.
Hold on, give me 1 second. I'll show you a good starstruck.
All these fans followed him, and he was like a little English guy, whatever, and they
a little Englishman?
Little
Englishman. I can always like Seth Green's adorable. I don't remember
what his first name was. He was from.
Do you really think that is Gene Simmons still going to want to try to steal Mandy Summers from her husband?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Do you think he can?
Will it play out again at Dragon Con?
All right. This was one of the greatest moments of my life. I was starstruck here. I was starstruck.
Go full screen. Make him big.
Oh, shit.
Oh, nice.
Are you kidding me?
I worked at Image. Jim Valentino was my boss. I love Jim. He was always very kind to me. I'll never forget that. This guy worked at Image with me, but Frank Miller was there. So was Neil Gaiman. It was a comic book legal defense or something like that fund. We were just having dinner in the same bar, the Image crew. But Jim actually brought Frank Miller over, because I think I had mentioned oh my God, Frank Miller,
Dude, that's amazing.
And Jim's like, hey, Frank, Frank came over. And at first, this was a little flip phone. This is like 2000, 2, 3. So that's at the gas lamp district, with that area there in San Diego. But anyway, so he motioned him over, came over, and he did a photo before that where his arm was like up on me. And I was like, oh my God, it's like Frank Miller's got his arm on me, dude. I'm going to have a picture of this. And I think it was Tracy who worked there. The camera didn't work.
Oh my
and
God,
it had to hand it back to me, and I had to go do whatever to it and hand it back to her. And then when the second time came around, it was Frank with like his arms crossed. And I was like,
Dolphish Frank Miller.
Yeah, I was like, but I took pleasure. I was like, well, at least it's classic Frank Miller. Yeah, nice. Like I was like, oh man, if it's only black and white.
Well, yeah, John, I see you posted behind you. So we were in Paris for a convention, and Frank and Brian Azzarello were there, and Brian's awesome. So Frank was very we went out to dinner. It was me, Debbie, Jimmy, Amanda, a couple of us, Brian. But Frank wasn't at dinner until one night. We had a thing, and let's go. So I don't know if you ever saw that.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
So that's my tattoo, I guess, because that was my thing when we were in the Army. I literally told my entire detachment about the story of the Spartans, of the 300, 300 Spartans, and so we go out and and this is so surreal, right? Because when you met him, he put his arm on, he put his arm on you. It's so surreal because you just love him for what he did for you as a youth, or as a young person, how he inspired you to want to follow this path. And he was always so independent. He was always Frank Miller. No fucks were given. He always did his thing. So we go and we're all hanging out at dinner, and Brian's like, and Azarel's like, dude, you got to show me your tattoo. Because you got to show me a tattoo. So I'm like, okay. So I go up to him like, Frank, and it always helps to have Debbie there. So then it does. It really does.
She also his bodyguard.
Yeah,
She's fucking tough. I've never felt so safe with one person before.
Yeah. She's like a little piece of diamond. Anyway, so I'm like, Frank, I want to tell you something. I said, when you did 300, I said, not when you did 300, when you did the hot gates of Thermopylae in Sin City, when you did that scenario, and this was the book I always wanted to do. As soon as I saw that one splash page of you telling Leonidas and the 300, I knew I could never do this book ever again. And I was hoping you would do 300. And I love that comment. And that's the only comment my wife's ever known. And then I showed him that. And I said, this is my thing. This is before, this is way before 300 came out. And he gave me a friggin' hug. You know what I mean? Like,
wow.
He hugged me, and we sat there, and it was like me, Frank, and Debbie just talking. You know what I mean? For dinner. And it was, and then we all hung out afterwards, and we went to the bar and stuff like that. And like, and I came home, and I was like, I tried to get it on with the wife, but she was exhausted because I was on high.
So you were with Frank?
And then Blevins, I went to the...
Is it okay if I get that tattooed on my arm just so I can try? Because I got to figure out how do I get Frank to hug me before his time's up?
Yeah, but you got to get on the left where the Spartans held their shields.
Yeah.
So you can always hug Billy. If you hug Billy, you can be like...
It's like I'm hugging Frank.
No, but that's exact...
Do I know how you can get spooned by him?
No, but that's exact inscription on the monument at Thermopylae.
Wow.
So you got to get that like that.
Yeah.
You can hug Billy who hugged Frank. That'd be awesome.
Dude, Frank Miller hugged me, bro.
Wow.
Right? And I'm like, and I say, and then Debbie was like, Debbie that was my second time I was starstruck. And I've met World War II veterans, you know what I mean? Like paratroopers and stuff like that these guys have idolized. And she's like, he's trying to say this, you know what I mean, to you, and it was wonderful. Like your picture, and we and then the thing with me was I did not want to take a picture with him. Like I didn't think about it. Like I'm not now. I'm like and I wish.
Yeah, well, in 2022, everyone's got a camera on them. But yeah, back then it would have been like, hold on.
No, Frank Miller's Frank Miller's tough, man.
Is he still battling cancer?
Injury, but he's a tough dude, man.
Incredible talent. Yeah, incredible. They tried to cancel him too. With
he was like, "Fuck you,
terror." Yeah,
and then that woman,
nobody's safe. Nobody's safe.
Yeah, but hang on, Blevins, and I know we're going over, but that woman that went after him to get him canceled from that convention, she then said, "Well, I'm not going to the convention anyway. I can't go."
Yeah.
So she did all this shit, and she wasn't going anyway.
Yep. Yeah, that's who these people are, man. They're terrible, terrible human beings. It's sad. It's really sad. A great talent like Frank Miller, and there's others out there as well that they as soon as they find an opportunity, they'll do it. And that's why we just have to shut them all down. You got to stand firm to do that. You have to be there, ready to take some hits. They're going to go through your life. They're going to try to find every little black eye, every little thing that every I that wasn't dotted, T that wasn't crossed, and they're going to try to use it against you and try to burn you and try to take it out of context and try to destroy your life. That's who these people are, and they are in the mainstream superhero comic book industry right now. Again, it should terrify people that these type of people are there. We are living in history right now. It's like, may you live in exciting times. We do.
I have
broke into 117K. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Wow, wasn't that at like 115 or something?
Yeah.
Incredible,
when
guys.
we started, yeah, we were at
Incredible.
115 or
Thank you guys very much. Graveyard Shift. What if the Universal Monsters were the X-Men? Is the the high concept on there. We are on the 4th volume. There's a tier. It's a feature tier. If you've already been backing the book, you just get into the feature tier. It pretty much gives you everything you need to just stay on top of everything. But if you never back the book, we do have a tier there called Mainline. That gives you the volume 1 and 2 collected edition, volume 3, my cover, and then volume 4. That will give you the entire main storyline of the project, and you are caught up. But there's also a tier that is supplemental. They're first printings of the supplementals, but that will give you the supplemental book. They are not necessary to the main storyline. But what they do is they give you a little bit more information. Sometimes they introduce a new character. And they accent the story. They'll give you a little bit more into it. So if you bought or you haven't got Graveyard Shift, get the main line. If you have got it and you need the supplemental, you want that extra degree of information, check out the right below that, which is the supplemental first print tier. So volume 1 on the left there is the first appearance of one of our main bad guys called Killer 99. Volume 2 in the middle is the first appearance of one of our heroes called Ruiner. He's kind of like your Hulk stand-in or Pit stand-in. And then volume 3 is a story of Brahm. So Phil Diaz, Tommy Patterson, Jimmy Reyes have all worked on that, and that's part of this main campaign. So those 2 tiers get you completely caught up on this project. And do I benefit from you guys backing? Absolutely. But I become a publisher. So, I mean, I have artists that are working for me. So your money goes and puts food on their table, keeps the lights on, keeps independent artists working. So, yeah, everyone, please go out there, check it out.
Do you have time for 2 real quick questions, John, about crowdfunding?
Yeah, absolutely.
The first one, by the way, I think it's awesome you got Rob Willis. I love Rob Willis. I think his artwork was awesome for that supplemental too was pretty awesome. Yep. But so this whole story, like when you came out with your first crowdfunding book, you talked about how this story was like 8 years in the making, right?
Yeah. At that time, it was about 8 years in the making.
And you're talking now that you're thinking that this first arc is going to close like with Graveyard Shift number 6.
Volume 6.
Is that volume 6, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to tell the full 8-year story that you have planned, or are we in new? I
mean, everything's evolved over that time, so we're absolutely getting into new territory. Everything going up to volume 6 is one big plan. We didn't have all that in place when we began because we had only ever thought so far up to issue 2. I think Mark's point of view was kind of like it would just be kind of all serialized. The villain, here's them fighting Van Helsing next issue. Here's like Cobra Commander kind of type thing. But it evolved out from that because my point of view was we just have to keep going bigger with it. I don't want to be treading water. I don't want to be staying in the same place with it. So, we start with our first storyline, which kind of wraps up a little bit in volume 2. Volume 3, I've described as like the kickoff for the next 3 volumes. 4, 5, and 6 is called The Black Emperor. And basically, if you like H.P. Lovecraft type material, Cthulhu, we've already introduced Cthulhu in volume 2. So we are moving in that direction.
Main book, not the supplemental.
In the main book, in the main book. So as we go up to volume 6, we are expanding the cast. In this volume right here, you're going to see that Graveyard Shift, the threat is so big they can't handle it themselves. So what they have to do is they have to unite the world's villains and supervillains to build a defense against these old gods. So it's going to be huge. And I've created so many characters that are going in here just to die. So by the time we get to volume 6, we are just they're all going into the meat grinder. Probably by volume 5, a lot of them are going to be through the meat grinder.
Game of Thrones style, huh? You don't.
What's that?
Nobody's safe. Game of Thrones style. Nobody's
safe. That's right. I mean, we are going to, by the time we get to volume 7, which would be the beginning of that next kind of 6-volume story arc, everything's going to be changed. There's going to be different, like Graveyard Shift is not going to be the same Graveyard Shift, So
you already have everything will out?
It will evolve. We have 1 through 6 completely planned out. We have 7 through 12. It's a little bit looser. And then we actually have a very loose idea where we would go up to volume 18.
Wow.
Hey,
So,
John,
yeah.
John, that's a lot of content, and these are big
It
books.
Mhm.
Have you thought about, before you start Graveyard Shift number 7, to produce or crowdfund a Graveyard Shift omnibus for the first 6 issues? Because those are big books. There's a lot of material.
Yeah, so what we've done is, like, my kind of plan has been to drive the costs down for backers. So as we keep making new volumes, like, we already have a collected edition of volume 1 and 2. So instead of $25 for 1 and $25 for 2, so instead of a $50 purchase, you can buy them both in one book for $25. So for the cost of one. So as we keep going down the line, we're going to make a volume 3 and 4 collected edition, of 5 and 6 collected editions. So then people would be able to buy the collected editions. And then eventually we will get to where we make like a trade, which would collect the 1 through 6 volumes. So that's kind of
an omnibus.
Yeah, well, we would get to a point. I think I have a bigger plan, which would be much more of an omnibus, which is I would be taking new material. I would take volume 1 through 6. I would also take some of the supplemental stories as well, which are just blowing up. They're going to be massive, and intercutting those into one massive volume. So nice. Because one plays into the other already, that's the game plan. So if we intercut these into one massive book, you would have the entire thing eventually. But that's much further down the road, so I don't encourage anybody to wait for that.
Are you gonna put out a reading list of what in what order you're supposed to read the items, like that we know?
Well, in the collected version, it wouldn't matter. That's why I tell people the main line. It's always it's by itself. It goes volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, and so on. Like that's it. If you wanted that extra material, that supplemental stuff, it goes also volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. But yeah, at some point, I probably would put in a reading list. Say, hey guys, just so you know, you should read volume 1 of supplemental after this part. So but the supplementals are always one volume behind. So we're on volume 4 of the main book. We're on volume 3 of supplemental because we didn't start doing it because we didn't have money. Once we made money, then we're like, let's reinvest that. Let's make this stuff bigger and better for everybody. And again, ultimately, we want to drive the costs down. So when we get new backers coming in, we want them to be able to catch up ultimately with volume 1 through 6 in one book. What are that costs?
Plan 9. Blevins, the reading list is 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, in its simplicity, because nothing in the supplemental stuff is going to throw you off from the inside stuff. It just gives you that extra information. Like, how did Killer 99 get introduced? Well, he's in supplemental volume. What is the origin of Ruiner? Well, his story is really being told in supplemental volume 2. And then probably supplemental volume 4 when we get to that next time as well, because that Ruiner story, which I'm writing, is actually being continued in the supplementals in a story called Omega Storm. So we're putting Ruiner, that character, into a superhero team. And then what's going to happen is as we get closer to volume 6, so volume 5, volume 6, you're going to have the Omega Storm story running right next to the mainline story. And they are going to be taking essentially place at the same time, same place, where you're going to be seeing it from 2 different perspectives.
Absolutely, bro.
So you're going to have Graveyard Shift telling their kind of story and Omega Storm telling their story, and they're all going at the same battle. And again, almost everyone's going to die.
What's great about that, though, like backers, what's so great about that is that you get the 2 point of views, because we did that with the She and Tomoe series. And you had, so She would assume this one guy, his name was Gojira, this warrior, and he was this monster. You know what I mean? He was this giant guy, and he was very an amazing warrior and just a ruthless warrior. But when the Tomoe side, telling from the Tomoe's point of view, was that he was this gentle giant. So that's what's so great when you do what John's doing. You tell these stories that you get the 2 point of views, because this one character may be perceived as one, as one person from one point and from another. So
yeah. So you're going to get a different angle on kind of like Graveyard Shift. So the team members. So while Tommy Patterson is going to be drawing it, and Jimmy Reyes is going to be inking it. But they're going to we're going to take characters that are in the main book and they're going to be in the supplemental book, and you're going to see how their reactions are to people like Vlad and choices that are being made as they move closer to this big battle. So I mean, a lot of great stuff. Again, that one I'm writing the whole thing. So by the time we do our next campaign, and our goal is, like, right now we're doing volume 4, but because we're working ahead of everything, we have a very fast artist, Jose Garcia. He's working on the main book. We are still looking at possibly launching volume 5 in the summertime. So, and we are doing fulfillment right after we get orders. So as soon as we get these campaigns are closing, we are sending them off to print. So you were looking at 2-3 weeks turnaround time, sooner if we can do it. So I mean, as soon as the lettering is done, I'm gone. Like, I have the money right now to just go ahead and send this off to press. So as soon as my guys are done, it's gone. And then we run into fulfillment. As soon as everything is fulfilled, everyone's feeling good, we have a little bit of time to digest the story. Then we're going to try to launch volume 5 in the summertime, and then volume 6 next year. And then volume 6 is going to be massive. It's just going to be, the battle is going to be crazy.
So now that you've evolved to, doing into now being like a full-blown publisher and everything, how are you looking to take on a certain amount of titles within a certain time frame?
Well, it all depends on, like, I don't think I could do more than 3 crowdfunds in a year. I feel like that's the limit for me. But as money comes in, if we are able to keep getting things above 200,000, I'd much prefer 300,000. I want to add page counts to the product for the same cost. I want to get more people working and push more material into those things for the exact same cost. But we have to hit certain marks. I mean, really, kind of 300,000 is kind of that really kind of safe spot. We were close on the last campaign. This one, we're probably going to be a little bit more distant on that. We'll see how things land up on the next one. But the more people back, the more money that goes in, the more I can actually push into that. So I'm not trying to get loaded on any one single campaign. I take a lot of that money and I shove it right back in because I'm trying to drive the cost down.
After crowdfunding, though, because I know you don't go in demand, you don't do that. I mean, for the longevity of your books, to continue trying to get them into new audiences and stuff, is there a distribution plan on online store, eBay store? I don't even, the
eventual plan.
Consider local comic shops trying to carry any of your product?
I'm not really looking at comic shops. I am eventually going to go to where I have a store functioning, 24/7. But that's when we get the collected material. So, and then there will probably be some high price, like, hey, you wanted a first print? Well, here's like a first print, or so if you really want to drop cash. But the main idea in terms of getting it out to the general public is really, I want to get the collected editions happening. I want to drive the cost down as much as I can. And then those guys are going to get those things. Maybe that first offering will either be 1 or 2 kind of collected, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that, or it'll be the 1 through 6. So I'm not in a rush for that right now. Right now, my plan is just keep making the comics, like just keep building up the content. And then I'll figure out a way to kind of reach out into a broader audience down the line. But like I said, it would probably be like a collected edition. It wouldn't be what I'm doing now. Right now, I love the business model that myself and others have been using. It works great. And I don't really want to deviate from that right now.
I know that you just going back, touching a little bit about the fulfillment. It kind of goes into my second question. Oh, did you have something you want to say?
No, it's cool. I just want to fuck you up.
He was lamenting.
Going into the second question, like a lot of people didn't know this. In fact, I was talking to Tucci earlier today, and I was like, man, I really want to ask Malin about his fulfillment company because I hadn't heard you say anything. Like, I downloaded the stuff for it, and I just never hear you talk about it.
That's because I did talk about it, and what it was once I got that going, what happened was people were kind of being a little bit odd with me. Like I would get things like, hey, I want to use your fulfillment company, but my campaign has to make X amount of dollars, and it's like, well, I'm not in the you wouldn't be paying me for marketing, and you would be paying me per package, so I didn't like people. They were like soft trying to manipulate me. So I just figured it was a lot better for my mental health not to get involved in that, because what they wanted wasn't the fulfillment. They wanted me to push their product through the stratosphere, and that gave me a really bad taste in my mouth. I don't like anyone trying to use me. so I just said, that's it. I'm not going to deal with that. And I'm much better off.
It was amazing.
I
thought it was awesome.
Yeah, no, I would have loved to do it, but I don't have the time to be dealing with manipulators. So I was like, for my own mental health, I think I'm just going to keep focusing and doing what is working right now.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, nice. And I have a question for you, Malin. No, like, for like people out there, because like, you get, Comicsgate, is growing. Indiegogo is the platform of choice and everything. And for like new creators out there, right? Because there's so many people that are inspired by everything you guys are doing. And really doing the YouTube thing, and kind of what the trend is now is a lot of us jump to other streams, or we have revolving shows, the Jack Show, other things, Comicsgate Kings, the Bros, as far as your marketing, and as these creators are trying to build up their presence, right, to sell, is it something you encourage? Do you encourage the collaboration,
Absolutely.
mix around, grow each other's channels, try to sell each other's books? How imperative is that to the growing process?
It's huge. The value of something like YouTube is, look, how far can you reach with your marketing? There's 6 billion people on the planet. The X amount of those have internet. So everyone who has internet, you have the potential to pulling in. You have the potential, but you have to be out there and you have to be talking. You have to be entertaining people and getting them in there. I tell people step one of independent comics, really, Comicsgate or not, is get on YouTube, start building up a channel. Build out your networks through that. Learn how to use your camera, use how to use a microphone. People prefer when your shit works rather than when it doesn't, because that makes a show better. When you invite people on your channel, eventually they may invite you on their channel. And basically you start building up a circle and you find people that you may authentically like. One of those people may end up blowing up on YouTube, and then their audience just, gets huge. And then they can help carry those people to your projects when you launch. So you'll build up a small circle of people that you really trust and believe in. And then you'll have all these kind of other people that you'll visit them, they'll visit you. And that's the network. And so in the meantime, when I'm not promoting, I'm out there talking to everybody. I'm like, hey, I got the Jack Show. I go on Comicsgate Kings. I try to have a place where people can find me. And but then when it comes to promoting, it's like, okay, I'm going over here. I'm someone's coming over here. So you're always trying to promote other people when you're not promoting yourself. I do. I mean, again, I don't go in demand. So when my campaigns are over, I'm just hanging out and having a good time, and I'm visiting, basically friends on YouTube channels and sitting around and drinking with them and talking.
Well, you're working.
Yeah, and when I'm working. Yeah.
It's a business. You're an adult. Nothing. It's you're a grown up.
Yeah. So it's important that you keep all your friendships healthy, by talking to people and bringing people on, or you going on other channels and trying to contribute to their shows. It's not show all the time for me. It's take a break, have a good time, and then maybe promote somebody else's. Like Patrick Parnell would have a project, and I'd be like, hey, everyone go get Sleepy Hollow. He's got Johnny Phantasm out right now. So, stuff like that. But you have to, you give and you take. So building up your network is a huge thing, but the marketing is, it's all on YouTube. So you have to be here right now. Look, in 5 years, something else is going to come up, and it may be better than YouTube or Twitter combined, and everyone's going to gravitate over there too. So, but right now, this is where it's at. YouTube is where it's at. You can have 100,000 people on, like, say, Instagram. Like we've actually did this. We've seen the math and the numbers for it. And fewer people, significant fewer. I think it's like 0.02, 0.05 or something like that % of people on Instagram will back a comic book project. But you can go on YouTube, and especially if you're already built into a network like Comicsgate, our percentages is like 5%, like 10%. Wow. You can get 5-10% of your subscribers to go out there and start backing your projects. So, I mean, there was an actual difference. There's a huge difference in terms of being on Instagram, because we have people that had hundreds of thousands of people on Instagram, and they thought that just by being on Instagram that they were going to have a huge successful crowdfund. It doesn't work like that. It's that constant talking and that communication. So it's me sitting here talking to you guys, but also sitting and talking to chat, like when I'm hosting my own stream. Like that builds up kind of that communication that between you, that friendship.
Gotta educate and inform.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
We got.
I'm sorry.
We got a super chat here from Matt Hepp, $10 super chat. Thanks, Matt. Hail all. With all the shortages going around and certain companies are slowly phasing out physical media, do you think that'll give Comicsgate / Indie an edge over mainstream?
I think we already have the edge over the mainstream.
Yeah,
I think that everything is going to go decentralized. I think anybody who's paying attention to anything going on in the world right now understands that it's all going to be decentralized, meaning you don't have to go to this big corporation or to have them print your book and then get this made. You don't have to beg. You don't have to plead. You can actually do it yourself. So everyone's going to become their own independent publisher. So as long as you can get the postal system to ship and you can get the printers to print, then in that regard, you're 100% protected. Mm-hmm. If you're going to talk paper shortages, whatever, I mean, worst case scenario would obviously be going to digital. I would hate to do that, but if there was no other option, I mean, there you could be making some kind of digital comic, and again, nothing stops you. So ultimately, being decentralized and being flexible, like I've used, I think 3 or 4 different printers now. Like I started in China, I went to Canada, I'm at Mixum now. You have to just be able to go wherever you need to be able to go. You're not tied down to long-term contracts with anybody. Mm-hmm. So, really, this is the way. This is the way of the future for comic books. In the Mandalorian dialect, this is the way. And but that's just it, man. Is everybody, and I always encourage people from the mainstream, like, guys, if you think you have 3,000 fans, like 300 diehard fans, they are going to come out there and they will buy a brand new concept from you at $25 a pop plus shipping. Like if Travis Charest said, "Hey, everybody, I'm going to do a crowdfund. It's going to be it's going to be 25 pages. It's going to be a 25-page book. It's going to cost you $100. I would drop down $100 lickety split." Absolutely. Like I would have no problem doing that for a Travis Charest fucking 25-page comic book. No problem. And I guarantee you there's more than 3,000 people out there that would do that as well. Like that's how much people really want to see Travis Charest just out there making some comic book stuff. So I mean that's just it. Greg Capullo could maybe do it. Even Greg Capullo, if he came over here to crowdfunding and did his own thing. He and
he's doing
Snyder,
it. Him and Scott are doing it.
200,000. That's nothing. That's nothing for what they should be pulling in. Yeah. Those guys, just like Sean Gordon Murphy, should be doing $1 million campaigns. They have the ability, they have the attention and the name that they should be able to pull more, but they don't have the marketing. They don't have the ability to go out there and talk to fans and to go out there and push stuff. Comicsgate, this network, like that's gonna help. That's going to help people, but what you're going to have to do, you're going to have to stop calling people Nazis. You're going to have to stop trying to fucking cancel people behind the scenes, Scott Snyder. You're going to have to start being a fucking human being again and stop living off the corporate teat. So, but you don't have to be Comicsgate, but you are going to have to build up a marketing division. You have to figure out how to market your book. So that's it. Figure that out.
Yeah. Do you what if all of that happened? Do you think it would all still be called Comicsgate, or do you think it would?
Comicsgate is just really Comicsgate is an idea. The idea being largely, hey, have some tolerance, treat people with as much respect as possible, but also don't take shit. Like don't just be shit. Don't just sit there and be shit upon by people. Because they have different views, towards you, and look, if you have a strong argument, make it, that's Comicsgate. It's an independent spirit. It's just being a fucking man. You don't have to be Comicsgate. You can go out there on YouTube and look, people have tried, what's her name? Gail Simone tried doing a channel. Who's the other one? Who's the guy who writes Venom? Donny Cates, right? Like they tried, but what happened is they found out that in the real world, which is YouTube, not everybody's going to give you an easy road. So what you have to do on YouTube,
then you have to call Ethan drunk.
This is why Rob Liefeld can't. This is why Rob Liefeld can't do this, right? Because, and I love Rob, but Rob can't handle the internet. And if Rob could handle the internet, if Rob could handle the trolls and all the trolling, see what we do in Comicsgate is we largely say, guys, you can say whatever you want in our chats. We're just going to let it stream as long as you're not saying anything that's going to have the channel removed. You're good. So you guys can argue in chats. You can say whatever you want. You can call me fat. You can say John don't have eyebrows, and you can say whatever you want. Now,
bro, you don't have eyebrows.
You don't.
I do.
Don't have eyebrows, bro.
We're there. I swear to God, they're there.
I bet you they're light and soft.
Yeah, no,
they're not there.
Yeah, they're light. They're light and soft. But anyways, but that's what they do, right? I mean, that's the internet. You can't change that. You'll never change that. There will always, because people are anonymous. They're going to go up on streams and they're going to say, "Hey," and they're going to pick at you. They're going to try that. So you have to be able to let that stuff slide off your back and not stress about it too much. Rob, anyone who pays attention to Rob knows Rob can't let that slide off his back. So you'll be blocked and banned and et cetera, et cetera. The moment. So
also for the people like us, John, like you are Jon Malin. You're Jon Malin on social media. You are. Yeah. You're not some troll with a weird name or something like that.
I have no sock puppet accounts. I'm just John. Right. That's it. Like if I'm in your chat posting, that's it. I'm not under an assumed name. But other people are. And the point is that other people are going to take shots at you from chat, and you just have to learn how to deal with that. Now, when you can learn how to deal with that, what you can do is you can actually convince the people who did not like you to eventually start to like you. You know what I mean? Like through your tolerance and through your arguments and whatnot, you can actually turn people to, hey, you know what? I came in here as a troll. Now I actually kind of like this guy or gal. And that's the way to run YouTube is you eventually convince people that, wow, this guy isn't exactly as bad as I thought. They come in hot, but then they start to realize that you're not these things that people said that you were. And then all of a sudden now they're defending you.
So you're turning people that don't know you. They have a perception of you and they hear things from, because it's free to just disparage someone or destroy them. It's free. You can just, if every tweet costs $1, there'll be a hell of a lot less fucking tweets out there, Yep.
So on my channel, guys, you can super chat me and tell me you don't like me. Happy to read it out loud and take the hit.
All your hate. It's fine.
Yeah, tell me I'm a Nazi. It's all right. Super chat.
So we got a $5 super chat from Shant and Jetty Art. My campaign crossed 20K this week. Awesome, congratulations! Nice. And that is because of Comicsgate in a large part due to folling Malin's strategy.
Okay, thanks. Cool. Yeah, Shant is kind of like a newer face out there in Comicsgate. He's done some video editing, but amazing talent. He paints like on his stream. He has a channel, of course.
Oh, nice.
Like nearly nightly, I see Shant is going live. Sometimes I just sit in there and watch because if I post in chat, then all of a sudden it kind of becomes about me a bit. But yeah, I like to go in there and just let him. And he's a great broadcaster. Like he can just talk and talk and talk and paint at the same time. It's incredible, and you just watch his paintings just come to life right there over the hour or so he's doing that stuff. Awesome. Great stuff.
So before we leave, if I may share something, Nile, due to our illustrious host. Hang on.
The anticipation.
Oh, it's not.
Can't wait.
What the hell? Nah. Cheryl Graham spanking Nolan right there, bro.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, Compass Comics right here.
Man, right? What is it? It's like 3 days old, 4 days
Wearing
old.
Graham's hat, man.
Oh, he's got the hat on. Boom.
Yeah,
represent
Compass Comics right here.
Yeah. Speaking of that, man, we got a wonderful night. Thursday after the Bros, Graham Nolan's going to be on talking two-fisted manly tales. We got Von Kloss on because the Terror in the Trenches is going to be launching tomorrow at noon.
Nice. Von's doing work for me too. So yeah, Von's a great talent, incredible writer, man.
They really are phenomenal. They are giants. And so let's push our boy Graham Nolan. Guys, people out there, you want to learn how to make a great comic? Follow Graham Nolan. And back this book. So
boom. Giant size two-fisted manly tales, and it has Kevin Grievous, who's the creator of Underworld.
Now that you guys have never met Kevin Grievous, He's a fucking giant. This giant dude with the deepest voice.
Oh, it's terribly deep. Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, I've talked to him on the phone a few times. It's unnerving. Like,
yeah.
you cower.
Yeah.
But what's crazy is Kevin did a story in here for Graham, but the character in the story is Ray's, the werewolf that he played in Underworld. So that underworld character is in this book right here.
Wow.
So it's almost like Underworld is Comicsgate. Look at that. Isn't that incredible?
Badass.
Don't forget all the amazing memes.
Adjacent. Let's say that. Comicsgate adjacent.
Don't forget all the memes also on Graham's Facebook page.
Yeah, old Blevins did a couple of those bad boys.
No, Graham said it when they said, well, people like Graham Nolan will not proclaim their Comicsgate in print. And then Graham's replied to us like, on Comicsgate. There it is in print. Boom.
Yeah. Incredible. And for anyone that doesn't know, Graham Nolan is the co-creator of Bane from Batman. Yep. So, I mean, fucking, like, he's in. He's legit, man.
He's as manly as it gets.
Yeah. Yeah, incredible people out there, man. And there are more coming over all the fucking time. Just guys that just want, and gals that just want to be able to say whatever the fuck they want to say. And, you know, if look, anything you say, as long as you have a good argument to back it up, that's life. That's reality. And I'm happy to have anybody over in Comicsgate that wants to say whatever they want to say. They can be on the left, they can be on the right. Just be sure you got a good argument to back yourself up. And because the internet will challenge you. Like, you cannot run from the internet. Be Comicsgate or not Comicsgate, there is always going to be somebody out there, no matter where you're coming from, that is going to challenge you. And if you can get past that, then you can start having a good YouTube channel. And a lot of people tune in just so they can hear your arguments regarding whatever that point is. So if you can do that, you can succeed here. And especially if you're a comic book artist, get out here, man. Like, stop being broke, especially if you're independent.
Yeah. Now, a quick question. Now, do you do a stream where you try to promote new campaigns, right? Mm-hmm. Like creators that are trying to make it in Comicsgate and everything.
Yeah, it's actually called Comicsgate Presents. I do that on occasion, every couple of months. I think I kind of tear into that. But funny enough that you mentioned that, now I want to find this video because someone had just tagged me this because I do an intro with it features like Cheech and Chong. You know, it's the Lowriders song, and somebody went up to Tommy Chong. And let me see if I can share
a cameo,
this.
Right? They did a cameo for you guys?
Yeah, they did a cameo. Let's see. Tom Tuttle, I think it was. Could you share this?
Yeah, definitely.
Let me try to do this. All right. Is that sharing?
Yep.
Hey, this is Tommy Chong, and you're watching Comicsgate Presents. Why say hi, Comicsgate, when you can get high? You can do both, though. So grab an oar, back godlike, and remember, flat Earth is real.
Those are my godlike.
Oh yeah, and it's from Team Wolf Milk.
Wolf Milk, yeah. All right, so
it's like, what the fuck?
Those are all memes that are regarding me. So like that's also what I do is like you know, like I said, it's part about trolling. You know what I mean? So I'm like, flat Earth is real. It's like my sign off. Yeah. But yeah, man. So that's cool. Like we've in Comicsgate, other people have had these cameo things done. We've actually had Myrna. God, I can't remember. Counselor Troy
Counselor
Troy. Yeah. From Star Trek did a comic, did like a Jack Show video because we're kind of Star Trek oriented on the Jack Show. And Sarah Palin did a Hi Comicsgate, and it's funny because she said it almost exactly like Tommy Chong. She was like, "Hi Comicsgate." Like, what's with the gap? But anyways, you know, it's great, man. There's so many celebrities. Just everybody out here is having so much fucking fun. And that's another thing that you just can't stand is that we're making comics. We're getting out here. We're having a good fucking time. We're drinking beers on stream on occasion.
Bro, right, bro.
Yeah, and we're having good, honest conversations that people in the mainstream just cannot have. And that's kind of back to what I was saying. You know, you almost die and you're born again, reborn with you know, look, we can talk about whatever we want. We can We get a really good in-depth conversations on just about anything, and we're not going to cancel people.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's just it. And like, okay,
Well, John, let me tell you something.
maybe you have a dumb argument, but you know, we're still gonna we're not gonna try to boycott your comics. We're not gonna try to go out here and mess with your crowd funds. We want you to make money. We want everyone to go out there and fucking do whatever we want. I definitely want to do better than you, but you know, look, I don't want anybody to fucking starve, man.
But John, the conversations we have on these live shows and in our little green room shows or whatever, or conversations and all, are the same conversations all of my friends have at the fire pit, at any given con, San Diego Comic-Con, at the Marriott Hotel, in the back by the pool, where there's like maybe 8 of us, 10 of us sitting there drinking. It's the same conversation. The thing is that guys like you are putting it out there, and you're saying this, what everyone else is saying. And people may attack you, et cetera, but boo, it's honest, and that's what it is. We're here, and we're throwing everything we have out there to all of you.
Yeah,
and boom.
Yeah. I mean, every comic creator is being exposed as a 3-dimensional human being. So
absolutely,
you're going to find the things that you like, the things that you may not like. But you know, we're still going to ask you for a little bit of respect, and we're going to respect everybody else's views back. That's Comicsgate.
Well, John, let me tell you something. This is really impressive. In 4 years, you have 4 volumes.
Yeah,
monsters, each and every one. And
never thought it would get to this. You know, like
really?
Look, I mean, the second volume did better than the first volume. The third volume did better than the second volume. I mean, we were able to take that money, and then we just said, look, we can just start turning into publishers. We can start making jobs for other people instead of just being where it's just us. Like there's so much opportunity out there now for people out there to get jobs, especially if they've been canceled. They should be coming over here and you know, make money. And look, I mean, I'm a publisher now. I was, you know, 3 years ago, I was ready to go back to working on highways and building bridges. Like that was it. Like I was just so turned off by the you know, the culture of mainstream comic book production. And that's kind of the final point I'd like to make, is that I've always stood by this point, and that is that my gripes have always been at the mainstream superhero comic book company. When you guys go independent and you go off and make I don't know what Mags made, her Girls Love, I don't know what it was, something like that. I don't care. I care when everybody else is fucking around in the mainstream. That's what I grew up reading, and that's what I think that kids, you know, are intended to be reading: superheroes, Superman, Batman, Spider-Man stories. I don't think we should be fucking around with kids too fucking much. So that's where my gripes are. But once you go into the independent market, guys, do whatever the fuck you want. You know, I'm gonna, you know, I might say your art sucks, but I'm not really gonna go too deep on you other than that. You know, like do whatever you want in independent comics. But in the mainstream, that's where my gripes are at, because I love them. I grew up reading them, and that's why I do what I do, because of mainstream superhero comics. So that's it. And man, when you guys get Jim on here, man, I love Jim Valentino. A lot of respect for Jim. Jim, when I went to Image Central in the early 2000s, Jim was the publisher. He gave me a birthday party at a bowling alley, like almost right off the bat after I came in. Nice. And he was so cool to me. I love Jim Valentino. A lot of respect for the guy. And God, I wish he was still publisher at Image Central, man. He's an incredible dude. Can't say enough good things about him. And got me that Frank Miller picture.
Nice.
So tell him I said hello. So much love.
Dude. Jon Malin, in and out, saying that you build 1 million bridges, you publish one comic, you're a comic publisher for life.
Well, John, if you don't mind, if I can to ask you in when he's on, just to tell him that, you know.
Okay, well, I don't want to interrupt his time, but you know, look, if I'm around, yeah, I mean, if there's a link in my DMs, I very likely pop in and say hello. So
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And, awesome. Like I said, we're clicking all our boxes for all the image founders. Which is
I love these guys, man. I'm an image kid. Like that's like when Image came out, like I was like, these are all my favorite artists, and they're all going over in this spot. So I mean, I was already a Rob and Todd fan. Eric Larson a little bit because of the Spider-Man work he done, riding Todd's coattails.
Oh my god!
Like, all right.
Well, and
And fucking Will's what he did in X-Men. I mean, I was just, man. I mean, that was all the great stuff. Larry Stroman with X Factor going over to try. I mean, when that stuff happened, I mean, I was all in on Image. I bought everything, in that first year or two, and I didn't have a lot of money, but that was it. Like, when I was a kid, my family didn't have a lot of money, but my older brother, my older sister, they kind of got the clothes. I got the hand-me-downs from my brother. But when the money came to me, it became, I want to start getting these comic book things. Like, that became my interest, my obsession, and I mean, I was right there when Image took off, and even though I wasn't born yet, but I was right there. I was right there, man, and I was just all in. And when I got to work at Image Central and be a part of Image Comics for that brief moment, about 2 years, something like that, that was a real incredible opportunity. I mean, just being so close to Jim and the founders, like just the emails and seeing who's in the emails, I'm just like, damn, man, what a crazy world.
Oh my god, time. Holy shit, what a time. It's crazy.
I love that era. So when you guys had Wilson on here, I mean, I was just like, oh my god. See, they're starstruck. Like me, starstruck is comic book guys.
I'm such a boomer with that. I blew that. But
no, that was fantastic. I fucking seen Will's Portasio. And did he pronounce his last name differently than Portasio?
He was talking about how they like other people were pronouncing it like Wilce Portaccio or something like that. Almost like he was like an Italian or something.
Okay, because I've always said Will's Portasio, so I don't know if that was wrong, but I probably got that from like way back in the comic book greats, like that video series. So I mean, I was all over everything those guys were doing back in the day, and even Jim, I had Shadowhawk. I was like, oh, Shadow, and let's break some back.
That's what brought me in,
right?
man.
Shadowhawk was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I love Shadowhawk.
Is the fucking shit. It's right next to me.
Yeah,
fucking love that. I can't wait to
talk about Shadowhawk too much.
Hell yeah.
We have too many conversations.
We got a super chat from the War Campaign. Love to Pop XP building their platform. Thank you. Yeah, man. We get Jim on. Might have a couple people pop in, say hi to him. That'll be a fun time. And that's next. That's going to be Tuesday next week at 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. Pacific.
Wait a minute, Blevins. If that's not Valentine's Day, is that Valentino's Day?
Valentino's Day.
Oh, see, to you too, huh, Billy?
Copyright that.
Yeah, he did.
He got to you too,
dude. It was a good idea.
It's a good idea.
Yes, sir. Well, John, hey man, you got your campaign to almost 118,000, which is great. You're about less than $100 away from breaking 118, which obviously you'll probably get a couple more on there in the 4 hours left, which is
4 hours ago. But we're going to extend it 30 days, guys. Be sure that you get in there within that next 30 days because we do not go into man, and that'll be it. And then we'll go to print and start shipping these bad boys as quickly as possible.
And John delivers his books. He fulfills his books. And he is not going in demand. So when this campaign ends after the next 30 days, it's done. So, boom. Go for it.
Manny's referring to this is a little embarrassing, but on my Godlike campaign, I had done my first 30, and then I went to extend, and there's you have to click it has to be perfect. You have to click this little thing, and then you can click the other thing, and I kept missing the thing, and I lost the extension.
John,
I had to contact
the same thing.
Yeah, I had to contact Indiegogo and say, hey guys, can you actually extend that for my 30 days? I fucked up, and I did it drunk. So people were like, John, you dummy. And yeah, they're right.
Dude, they harassed you for a bit about that.
John,
I got I'm still harassed about it. Look at Manny. He's like, don't forget the extension. But I waited till last minute. I thought I had it all covered. So yeah, I'll do it like 5 minutes before or something like that tonight.
John, that's funny because you got to be on that because Debbie and I did that with the omnibus. And we went to bed, like we're closing out. We were all together and stuff like that. And we were drinking and stuff like that. Had a good time. And Debbie wakes up. whatever, by the time she got 9:30, 10 o'clock, she's like, oh my god, the campaign's closed.
Yeah.
So we blew us all the momentum. Like, what? And then we restarted and all, but
yeah, no, Indiegogo's been good. Like, they even said they're like in their reply, they're like, well, we believe that your campaign is going to do significant more, in that 30 days. So, they're like, so that's why, I guess maybe you have to plead a little bit your case. So, but that's what when they responded, that's what they said. They're like, yeah, we think you're going to make a lot more. So we're going to go ahead and
7 projects.
Yeah, he's going to be like, just hover your mouse over this, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think we can reinstate that, right, guys?
Yeah.
you can double it.
And you can get your cut.
Yeah. So big thanks to the people at Indiegogo,
Awesome.
and, so I've been happy using them, and, just wow. I mean, it's incredible that this campaign is doing as well as it's done. And guys, if you haven't backed it, please share. Just put it on social media, let people know it's out there. And that's all I have to say. Incredibly talented people working on this project, and you help support every last one of them.
Absolutely.
And an incredibly talented guest that we had on tonight, right?
Thank you, John. Thank you. This is awesome. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mandy. Thank you, everybody out there. This is wonderful. Fantastic.
All right, everyone. Well, hey, thanks for hanging out with us. And again, join us Thursday night. We're going to have Graham Nolan on, as well as Mr. Von Klaus. We're talking giant-sized, two-fisted manly tales and tear in the trenches. Now, it's going to be after the bros, so we'll be going live at 10 instead of our usual 9. We don't want to compete with those guys. People kind of like them,
Professionals, that's the show they have with a bunch of comic creators are on there.
Yeah, a couple
bros, bro.
Couple handsome.
Yeah, RT Bear, Billy Tucci, Dan Friga.
Well, when RT Bear shows up, Art's always
Art.
He's like the absent.
Everybody loves Art. He's like everyone's favorite grandpa.
Art, wake the fuck up, bro. Thank you, John.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, John. I appreciate it, man. And chat, you were awesome tonight. Thanks for the super chats, guys. We appreciate it. Helps fund the channel a bit, trying to keep things up to date. And again, John, thanks for coming on, and we'll see everyone next time, right, Tucci?
And you guys are going to learn a lot from this show.
You're going to learn a lot from
it. A lot of knowledge.
Dropping knowledge. Oh, look at that.
Oh, awesome.
Jim kind of has that like Bill Cosby face on, like the pudding.
Keep in mind that was the second time the photo was being taken. Jim's awesome. Like, oh fuck, Frank's gonna hate me.
All right, everyone, have yourselves a great night. And when are you streaming live next, John?
Oh, I'll be streaming on my channel tonight, guys. We'll be closing out. I'll be streaming till about 3 a.m. I'll be incredibly drunk, but I will extend properly the lead at. So
nice.
Boom.
Fantastic. Smash that like button and subscribe. Listen to Mandy. Subscribe. All right, everyone, have a great night. We'll see you Thursday, I think. Hey everyone! Thank you for joining us on Pop XP. If you haven't already, click that subscribe button, and also click the bell for notifications when we go live. We upload some new content. Also, don't forget to head on over to Twitter and follow us at the Pop XP, and over on Instagram at the Pop XP. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you soon.